If you guys haven't heard of the company Reeven before, then that would kind of make a lot of sense because they're not exactly the largest CPU cooler company out there. And that gives them a huge challenge because if they are going to give us a CPU cooler and stand out, they're going to have to do some really special stuff. Is a yellow color going to be enough to do it? Or are they going to also give us some crazy installation or performance numbers as well? Well, I guess we're just going to have to find out. Alright guys, so I gotta say that I feel like yellow is a bit, I don't know if that's the best color choice. I mean, hey, I know some of us probably like yellow, but I can't imagine it's very popular. It does stand out as unique, but, man, I think they should go with purple. You know, just a purple fan blades. Oh man, that'd look really nice. But really, outside of that, we've got a really good, decent looking CPU cooler here. So, got a pretty nice tall tower set up. Once we go to the top of this guy and take a look here, we can see we got a nice top plate to cover that hides the ends of the heat pipes, has Reeven's logo nice and clear in the top there, and it's just, you know, very sharp, very professional looking. Once we get to the bottom, of course, got a smooth finish there on the bottom, and once again we got 6 heat pipes. So there are a couple of larger ones here in the center with some smaller ones there. So, you know, should give us some decent amount of heat transfer through the rest of the tower. Now, one of the other things that Reeven's got going on, and we've seen this before with the Scythe, but once again, these heat pipes are a little bit offset. And so what's going to happen is it's going to help this cooler really center nicely on the socket, giving plenty of clearance for RAM. We shouldn't even have to worry about short DIMMs or anything because the RAM should clear just fine. So that's kind of a nice little design perk that these coolers have had. Alright guys, so as you can see, Reeven is not doing too bad. I mean, they are pulling a slight lead without the low noise adapter, but once you put that LNA on, they kind of have the lowest cooling potential out of the crop of coolers that we see. Now, that's not terrible in and of itself, I guess, but when you're considering that we got a 140 millimeter fan, which should generally help the cooler be more quiet, and it's not really keeping those really low noise levels, and that also has to do a lot with RPMs, then you kind of start seeing that their performance is just not it's just not phenomenal enough. It's not bad. It's definitely a contender. And honestly, these little differences, guys, aren't going to make a difference if you're trying to overclock. It's not like you're going to get an extra, 500 megahertz out of your processor because of this. But it would have been nice to see something that would really surprise us today, and unfortunately, we're going to have something that's pretty just normal. So nothing that's bad, but nothing that blows us away either. We're just kind of average, and well, hey, that's not always a good thing though when you're trying to stand out in the market. Let's go ahead, guys, move on, wrap up this review. So Reeven's got a really solid cooler here, but there is just a couple of things that I have a hard time really, a couple things I'd like to see changed. One is obviously the install process. It's not the worst, but at this point, I'm really done with companies using their own brackets, especially on AMD sockets. AMD has this awesome solid metal backplate. Use it. I mean, it's the easiest thing to make for the install. And even though Reeven's wasn't too bad, their their AM4 bracket, because it doesn't have anything to help back up the motherboard, will allow a little bit of bow in the back over time. I don't like that. It's never been a serious problem with anything I've installed, but still, I like the idea that my motherboard isn't going to have any bow in it when it's using that backplate that comes with the AMD. The clips, they could be something that could hold in a little better versus just falling off as soon as you unclip them. There's things like that that's like the install process is, in my opinion, just blatantly average. So it's not like terrible, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but there is a lot of room for improvement that could make that a lot better experience for the user. Of course, the other problem too is yellow color. It's not that I'm against yellow, and I don't think it's a bad idea to have yellow as an option, but I feel like yellow is very rare in the PC world. I see it very occasionally, so I feel like that's going to polarize them just a little more. But if I had to choose between yellow and beige and brown, I might lean a little towards yellow. Right now, the Reeven Ouranos is around $60 on Amazon, which is, you know, a little bit pricier. But it's also like you got right now, you can get it for around $53 on Newegg, which that's a decent price. And considering where CPU coolers have gotten to and how, you know, pricing is, that's actually pretty darn good. It's not going to blow you away. If this cooler was like $45 or $40, it would be insanely competitive, and it would just be like, wow, you know, if you just want some cooling performance, this guy's going to save you quite a few bucks at this point. And probably give you better performance than some of your typical 4-heat pipe tower coolers that are a lot cheaper. But, you know, right there it's competitive, but not necessarily blowing you away. With the 140 millimeter fan though, it's adding a little extra oomph to that cooling performance. But, you know, we didn't see blowing us away numbers either. So, you know, not a bad cooler. There's some areas that could really help it out. Overall, Reeven is doing some good work here. They got some solid coolers, and I do appreciate the fact that they are doing something unique, because at least they're not a carbon copy. Their coloring scheme gives people another option. And I will say though, they should get some Asus Tough branding on this guy and see if they can get some partnerships going with that, because all this yellow coloring would fit nicely with the Tough lineup from Asus. Alrighty guys, there's your review. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe as always if you want to help me out. Share out my videos if you've got people who might be interested, and I'll catch you later.